Good morning. My name is David, author from 52 Churches in 52 Weeks, allowing you to ride shotgun for week 3 for this new 52 Churches in 52 Weeks vlog on YouTube. Today is May 15th, 2022. We're going to Community Church in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. Like I mentioned in the last video, right now just starting off slow, going to churches I'm comfortable with, getting my foot in the water before I go outside my comfort zone with some other churches and denominations I'm not very familiar with. With Community Church in Oshkosh, this was a church I've attended a few times. And the first time that I went, I was actually invited by a friend that I did not think, that I was kind of surprised that he did reach out to me. He knew that I was at rock bottom when I was going through my D-Day, my discovery day, when I discovered snakes that had been in my past. And he invited me to church with his wife. I had nothing else to do. I said yes. And at the time, I was going to the Ripon Community Church, the church in week 2 from last week. So I was already kind of made up where I wanted to go to church at that time. But, you know, if someone offers you an opportunity to attend church, like, that's humbling. That speaks volumes about someone's character, that they would do that, especially when they know, hey, you're going through a rough patch in life. So I attended it in, I want to say, February 2020. You probably know where this is going. And I attended a few times, and up until the lockdowns. I want to say lockdowns happened like March 10th, March 11th, 2020. I had been attending community church up until that weekend. And then the following week, and it was packed. It was absolutely packed. And the following week, with lockdowns, churches closed, we just entered that whole new world. Eventually, with all the churches that were closed down, Community Church was one of the first ones that had opened up in my area during the summer of the pandemic. And that was when churches required you to mask up. They required you to sign up. You had to put in your email list and your name. You had to get everything with social distanced. And all of a sudden, just a few months after going to this church where it was just packed to the brim of people, I would say maybe about 5-10% of the capacity was filled. Everyone was rows between each other, and there was just a certain sense of distance when it came to attending church from that. So I haven't been back since. But as I kind of go through this church journey, I want to visit, check it out again, and see what happens. So, yeah, we'll show you some sights and sounds, and we'll go from there.
Reach for me. starts to unpack what it means to run the race well. And part of running the race well means that we're going to have to go through hardships. We're going to have to go through times of discipline. The Christian life does not promise to be one that can be run with ease. Author C.S. Lewis notes that God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains. It is his megaphone to arouse a deaf world. Because when we're in the midst of pain, it is not fun. It is not something that we can be like, oh yeah, this feels good. Like, I can understand how this is for our good. Real pain causes suffering. But yet, the author here is trying to get us to understand that it is for our good. Verses 10 and 11 say this, "For they disciplined us for a short time as it seemed best to them. But he disciplines us for our good, that we may share his holiness." So it's first talking about our earthly fathers, and then it's talking about how God disciplines us for our good, that we may share his holiness. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it.
Hey crew. So finished up at community church in Oshkosh not too long ago. And you know what? Had a really good service there. When I first got there, well, let me back up. The first two church services I was a part of, I got there way too late and basically was rushing in to get to my seat. This time I decided to get there about 25 minutes early. And when I'm trying to just understand, okay, where are points of contact, who's reaching out, they just weren't set up yet. And when I went in the worship the worship area, they were still giving directions to the worship team, the ushers, the tech crew, everyone. So it's like no one could really say hi to me when I got there. But what did happen is I was seated near the front, and Alan came up to me, and he started chit-chatting, asking me, how had I been to community church in the past. I told him, hey, was just starting off right before the pandemic and tried once during the pandemic with all the challenges when he had to sign up online to attend church, and he agreed. Eventually he did mention he was a senior pastor. He didn't say Pastor Alan, he just said Alan. And made him very relatable, very kind. And even though I kind of mentioned, it's like, yeah, you look familiar. So really great greeting right off the top. So even though I didn't get to see anyone that greeted me at the door, that spoke volumes about community church. The service itself, there was a countdown. Pretty much the entire worship team was wearing black and more kind of like casual denim type of clothes. It's just a style for a lot of the modern contemporary type of churches and that type of worship music. I didn't notice like any kind of Hillsong Bethel music. It was more, the first song was Chris Tomlin. Second one was 1,000 Hallelujahs, which I believe is a newer song by Brooke Lightwood, I believe. And the third one is really where the service apexed, where it climaxed in terms of just hitting home and really make you think. And I never really get that when it comes to worship music, but this just kind of like hits you over the head with a baseball bat about what it means to be a Christian. So pretty much the entire worship service, like the background, it was black. You have your fog machines, you have your lights, but when you're reading the words on the screen, it had this kind of like lava lamp, kind of bluish purple kind of gaze to it, kind of gave you that little worship hypnosis. But all of a sudden, when you're singing, it was called Son of Suffering by Maverick City Music. And during the refrain, suddenly that lava lamp type of background changed. And instead, this light came up where it's like once, for, and then all the words started flashing across the screen. You had narcissists, you had police, students, the hurting, fathers, the rich, China, Americans, Jews, the handicapped, North Korea, unborn babies, Russia, Democrats, Ukraine, Republicans, alcoholics, the hurting, grandparents, store owners, preachers, pastors, just all these names started flashing across the screen, just rapid fire. And typically, when it comes to worship music, I just don't usually have that epiphany. And for me, as I'm doing this 52 churches in 52 weeks type of spiritual project, I have biases. I have things and news that fill into my head, and my head becomes a mental factory, and suddenly people or things that you see on the news become the bad guy. And you have to reframe yourself. You have to adjust yourself to understand that, hey, if I'm a Christian, I need to pray for everyone. I need to love everyone. And sometimes for those who have abandoned me, who have been not displaying Christ-like behavior, and even myself, for who I have not displayed Christ-like behavior to others, it's a good foundation, as I'm about to do this, to remember that if I go to some more type of churches that are not my cup of tea, I need to show love. I need to pray for them. I need to remove my biases, to display myself like Christ. So that really struck a chord. The sermon was by their youth and family pastor. I can't imagine he's done many sermons in front of the church in the past. His sermon, he kind of used as the basis on his sermon. His daughter was trying to learn how to do handstands, and she's a young girl. She wants to get in gymnastics, and they get her some kind of tape, I guess, some type of video, and you have to work up to it before you can do the handstand. And she got bored, and no, instant gratification. I want to just fast forward to the part where they do the handstands. I want to learn how to do that. And it was a good kind of understanding, because even as adults, we want everything now. We want the job promotion. We want the girl. You want the guy. You want to move. You want to have all these things happen right away. And you have to work up to it. You have to take time. You need to have patience in God's timing. And so then he brought in Esau. And Esau is not someone that you typically hear much in sermons for the main biblical character. And the pastor, because usually it's about Jacob. But with this, the focus was on Esau, how the instant gratification that he had was, hey, I am starving. I need something to eat right now. I will give up my birthright to you, Jacob, so that I can eat. Because what's my birthright if I can't survive and live it out? And the pastor kind of talked his way, little spiritual gymnastics in terms of trying to understand, okay, I always thought Esau was the victim in this, but Esau can represent a lot of us, because we want that instant gratification. We want the things right away. We will sacrifice things to get what we want right now. And especially in today's day and age, the world of Instagram and fast food delivery and Amazon Prime, we do it all the time ourselves. Not giving up our birthrights. We don't really have birthrights in America, but anyway. After service, Alan came up to me again. He said, thanks for visiting. Great to meet you. And I think that's an interesting point with this service, especially when it came to Christ and this rapid fire word montage on who Jesus died for, how he died for everyone, how he died for Americans and Jews and Christians and North Korea and Russia and Ukraine and Democrats and Republicans. And there's so much turmoil if you turn on the TV, and Christ tries to just cut right through that. And as I go forward, and I'm thinking, one thing that I kind of regretted that I didn't do in the first 52 churches in 52 weeks, when I started off, I was very anti-faith. My faith was probably as low as possible. And this time I feel like my faith is like on fire. I feel like, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, like, I want to refine my faith. I want to make it stronger, just because I'm thanking God for some of the adversity and the challenges and the setbacks, because it's not necessarily the setbacks that have brought me down. It's more of a setup where I can use where things in the past where I may have been bitter, now I can be better. And I think with Alan, I'm going to try emailing him this week and just kind of see if he'd like to touch base, because I want some type of spiritual advisor. I want someone that can give me a little bit of a spiritual foundation, some type of wisdom as I continue moving forward on this. Because I don't want my biases coming out in a negative fashion when I'm doing this. This is supposed to be an adventure. This is supposed to be a way that I can show my own light towards other churches. So that is not inherent in me, but that is my goal as I move forward on this. So if you like what you watched today, hey, hit the like button and subscribe. To next week is going to be week 4. I'm going to be doing that at Calvary Bible Church in Neenah, Wisconsin. My understanding is they're starting a series on Exodus. So we'll check that out. After that, then I'm going to go a little bit more outside of the comfort zone, try a couple different denominations that I am unaware of. So thanks for watching, and hope you have a good one. Glory to God.